So, a crime happens in India. The clock starts ticking, literally. Those first 24 hours, absolutely critical. And now, they're governed by a brand new playbook, the Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita, or BNSS. We're going to break down exactly what happens in that crucial first day. All right, the phone rings at the police station. Before anything else happens, the police have to answer one single pivotal question. And believe me, their answer changes everything. It sends the entire investigation down one of two completely different roads. And here it is, that fork in the road. On one side, you've got cognizable offenses. Think of these as the serious crimes. On the other side, non-cognizable offenses, the less severe stuff. The difference is huge. For a serious cognizable crime, police can jump into action, investigate, even arrest, all without a warrant. But for a non-cognizable one, whoa, hold on. They can't do anything without getting a judge's okay first. Okay, so let's take that first path, what I'm calling the express lane. This is for the serious stuff where the whole system is built for speed. This whole journey kicks off with something called a First Information Report. You've probably heard of it, the FIR. It's basically the starting gun for the entire investigation. The moment that FIR is filed, the case is officially live. And you can see just how straightforward this is, right? The information comes in, the FIR gets filed, and bam, the investigation starts. Right away. There are no bureaucratic hoops, no waiting for permission at this stage. And this is where the police get some serious authority. They can head straight to the crime scene, start collecting evidence, question witnesses, and, this is the big one, arrest a suspect. All of that without needing to check in with a magistrate. It's all about speed and immediate action when a major crime has been committed. All right, let's switch gears and look at the other path. This is the regulated route for those less serious offenses, and it's a totally different ballgame with a huge checkpoint right at the beginning. So for these cases, police don't file an FIR. No way. Instead, they create what's called a non-cognizable report, or an NCR. Honestly, you can think of it as just an entry in a diary. It logs the complaint, sure, but it gives the police zero power to do anything else. It is a full, hard stop. So what happens then? This part is absolutely key. The police log the NCR, and then they have to tell the person who made the complaint, okay, you need to go see a judicial magistrate, basically a judge. That magistrate becomes the gatekeeper. Only, and I mean only, if they give a direct order can the police even think about starting an investigation. Now, let's say the magistrate does give the green light. The police then get all the same investigative powers they'd have in a serious case. But there's one massive exception. Even with that judge's order, they still cannot arrest a suspect without a warrant. That's a really important safeguard built right into the law. Okay, but life isn't always neat and tidy, right? What happens when the lines get blurred? What if a police officer makes a mistake and goes down the wrong path? I mean, picture this scenario. An officer gets a report, they think, okay, this is serious, it's cognizable, and they launch a full-blown investigation, only to find out later, whoops, it was actually a less serious, non-cognizable offense. So, is the whole case just dead in the water? Does everything get thrown out? Well, here's where it gets really interesting. The law actually saw this coming. It anticipates this kind of mix-up. And instead of just trashing the whole investigation, it has this really clever legal fix. It sort of performs a legal magic trick. You have to see this. The law basically just relabels everything after the fact. So that official police report the officer filed, the law says, nope, we're going to pretend that was a private complaint all along. And the police officer who filed it, they're no longer the investigating officer in this context. They're now legally considered the complainant. It's this brilliant little legal maneuver that stops the whole case from collapsing on a technicality. But this new law, the BNSS, it isn't just about the A to B process. It's also about adding new layers of oversight, new checks and balances to make sure there's accountability from the get-go. And one of the key new tools for this is something called an occurrence report. Here's how it works. The second an FIR is filed for a serious crime, the police have to immediately, and I mean immediately, send this report to the local magistrate. It's got a copy of the FIR, plus the officer's initial thoughts on the case. So, why the big rush? Why does it have to be sent forthwith or immediately? Think about it. By getting that report to the magistrate before the investigation really gets deep, you're creating an official, time-stamped record with the court. It's a safeguard designed to prevent anyone from changing the story or manipulating things later on.
Okay, now let's talk about the really serious stuff. We're talking about crimes where the punishment is 7 years or even more. For these, the new law brings in even tougher, more stringent rules.
For these major cases, it is now mandatory, not optional, mandatory, for a forensic expert to go to the crime scene and collect evidence. And get this, the entire process of them collecting that evidence has to be video recorded. It can be on a mobile phone, any electronic device, it doesn't matter. This is a huge step toward bringing more scientific rigor and transparency into the biggest cases. And finally, there's one last rule that's really important for clearing up any potential confusion. What if you have a situation with a mix of offenses, some serious, some not so serious? Well, the law is crystal clear. If even one of the offenses is cognizable and serious, the whole case gets bumped up. The entire thing is treated as a serious, cognizable case and goes straight into the express lane. So when you step back and look at it, this new law is clearly trying to build a system that's more structured, more accountable, with things like mandatory forensics, video evidence, and that immediate check-in with a judge. But the huge question we're left with is this. Will all these new procedures actually make investigations fairer and more transparent, or will they just end up creating more red tape, more bureaucratic headaches for the police? Finding that balance, well, that's going to be the real test for this new law.